Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that doing more privates and more classes and not getting any mental coaching help, do you think just trying to have a good day over time is going to make it worse because you kind of keep your training in the same mindset over and over? Does that
Yeah.
make it worse?
So it's just kind of reinforcing
Yeah.
those same patterns and beliefs and hoping for a good day. Sometimes what you'll see is athletes will change gyms or they'll try a different, like they will mix up their external environment or try a new drill or something. And
Yeah.
sometimes that helps and that works. And the reason why that works is because there's no old negative stories attached to that, right?
Hmm.
Because when they go in and they do the exact same thing every single class or every practice, it's like, okay, well, I go to this mat, I go to do my tuck, and nothing happens, right? Like they have this story and this negative experience attached to that drill or that skill. Versus if they're doing something brand new, there's no expectation, right? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And so there's not as much pressure and it's new. So that's exciting. It causes them to be a little bit more interested and lean in a little bit more, have more energy to push through that fear. So sometimes that is helpful. But if they're just going in and just trying to get as many reps as possible with the same old thinking patterns, it's not going to help. You'll see kind of this trend where when it gets close to competition season or tryouts or evaluations or choreography, that the
Hmm.
pressure builds and more mental blocks set in. Like a lot of setbacks happen during that time.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of athletes push through it on the day, right? Sometimes the fear of
Yeah.
not making it becomes bigger than the
Yeah.
fear with the block. And
Yeah.
so that definitely happens where, you'll kind of see those patterns. And so sometimes after competition season or when that high pressure time in the season goes down, then they'll see a little bit more progress. So you will see progress
Okay.
over time by sticking to the same thing. But mental coaching is really where you're addressing the mental block at the source. So that is the fastest and most effective way to overcome mental blocks and learn how to overcome them. So in the
Yeah.
future, if it happens again, you know what to do versus just
Mhm. Yeah.
trial. It's like, oh, it got better and I don't know why. That's why
Yeah.
athletes mental blocks come back
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
because they don't know why it happened and they don't know how they fix it.
Yeah.
So it's literally
Yeah.
just like something they feel like they have no control over, and that's not part of that is like it is something your brain is doing, but there's so much you can do to work through it
Yeah.
and do it in a really healthy, effective way. So
Yeah. So once you have the tools, you can apply it
yeah.
to everything else, really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I tell our athletes and our parents, like we teach them the baseline. Like, here's what works. So when you work on this skill, here's how you're going to think. Here's how you're going to process the situations you're in so you don't have pressure. Here's how you're going to have your confidence. How you're going to practice it and keep it high. Here's how you're going to trust yourself. Here's what you're going to do if you have a challenging day or a challenging rep. Here's how you're going to get through it. Like we give them all of those pieces so that if they ever have a day where it's like, ooh, something's shifting, things are feeling harder, it's like, oh, let me go back and look at those things that are working and let me reset back to that healthy baseline. That's kind of what we do. We teach them, here's what works, like here's what really works. And so
Yeah.
they have that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So if someone found this helpful or they suffer from mental blocks or anxieties or fears themselves, then how can they work with you or how can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to get started is to sign up for a no cost conversation with me. So I offer free performance check sessions, and that is a 30-minute virtual call. And the whole point of that is really to discuss what are your goals, what do you want, what's your dream, where do you want to be, and then where you are today. And I want to have a conversation and help this athlete see how to kind of close the gap. How do you get from where you are to where you want to be? And getting them to understand what's happening so they can let go of that frustration. That's really helpful. And what are some steps they can go ahead and start taking to move forward? So that's something I offer. It's called a performance check session. You can get signed up for it at mgpcoach.com/performance check session. And we'll put the link below this video. We'll include it somewhere so that they can get access and get signed up for that. Spots are limited, so if they want to get signed up, if this is interesting, absolutely go ahead and get signed up, please. But it's a great conversation. I spend about 20 minutes with the athlete, then do a parent recap at the end for the last 10 minutes. And it's no pressure, no obligation. It's just, I just want to help you, talk to you, give you some things to think about. give you things to consider maybe you haven't before so that they can move forward in their skills. And then if they found it helpful and they want to know more about what the programs look like and what maybe the best next step would be for them, then at the end of the conversation, then we'll talk through those options together.
All right, that's a good option.
Awesome.
And
Well,
I know
thank you.
you also have mental coaching or other courses available too, right? And free trainings.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got tons of resources on my website. So if you go to mgpcoach.com, that is where you can find a lot of different resources. Also, we have a course. So I have a 12-week Mind Over Mental Block course that's available. We are going to be adding in some Q&A, office hour, like more live coach sessions. So to make sure that as you're working through the content and the curriculum and my 6-step Mind Over Mental Block process, as you work through that every week, you have an opportunity to ask your questions in person with a coach, one of my expert mental coaches. So that is an option. And then we're also going to be starting small group classes here in the next little bit. So so keep an eye out for information on that. So lots of ways to get support from us. Just get in contact with us however you can. But a good place to start is that mgpcoach.com, our website.